record.
Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna get the interview started. Well, thank you for, helping me out and coming out. I know it was like wasn't the original plan. But thank you for coming out. So now we're conducting this interview and I have tw 10 questions for you and can you give them a little bit of a background about what you do just so that, you can like introduce yourself to the people that are watching this video.
got you. I'm Staff Sergeant Flores, part of the 459th Maintenance Squadron. I'm also in the Air National Guard, 223rd Air Defense Squadron for system admin. Um, so I'm both an aircraft mechanic and a system admin for the Air Force right now. Um, I guess that's a good intro for now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, two jobs, two different sets of skills, it's pretty crazy. That's pretty, I would say you're kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You're doing multiple things at one time, which is pretty good.
Very
Um,
versatile.
yeah, very versatile. That's the word I was looking for. So let's get the first question out of the way. So the first question is, what is your title? And describe a typical day in your position. And I know you said you had like two jobs. You could do both or, whichever
I'll,
whichever you want.
I'll do the aircraft one since that's my main job. Um, for the 459th, I'm an aircraft fuel system technician. Day-to-day operation deals with working on the KC-135R model aircraft over here, refuelers, tankers. Day-to-day is basic mechanics, well, not basic mechanics, but I'm a specialist for the aircraft fuel systems. So in regards to that, we basically troubleshoot the system, handle any leaks, if there are any leaks. And we just troubleshoot like basic components like valves, boost pumps, cracks in manifolds, and on our IFMP, our integrated fuel management panel, we also make sure that all the electrical portion system of that also works. So that's kind of like day-to-day operations.
Oh man, that's pretty cool. Working on aircrafts like that, it's pretty rare.
Mhm.
I don't personally. I think you're the only person that I know that actually works on aircrafts, which is pretty cool. So number two is so what does leadership mean to you?
What leadership means to me is kind of like knowing when to take charge, but also kind of have an open mind when to not take charge. If you have the confidence in what is happening and you want to take charge, no one's going to force you to do it. I feel like leadership is action rather than position. So like, everyone can have like a high rank, but if someone who has more experience in a certain field and they have more confidence and know what they're doing, then they're the ones that should take leadership in that program or in that job sequence. So, for example, for me, when I cross-trained into system admin, even though I was an NCO and had more skills as a mechanic, in IT, I don't have that much experience. So when I was first transitioning into the guard, I had a airman below me, lower ranking, I had to kind of ask them, hey, like, can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? Like, help me troubleshoot the servers. So that's what I mean. Like, when you're in a leadership position, you gotta know when to step back, let other people take charge, but you also gotta like have that initiative to want to take charge or to want to learn. So that's what leadership means to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like that sentiment. It's kind of like let the expert take control of the certain situation. That's not to say that you can't be backup or, help them lead in a way, but, just allow the expert to work at that moment. And then maybe when there is an opportunity for you, you
You
step up
take
to the
it.
plate and you take that leadership role. So yeah, pretty solid answer. For number three, it's what strengths do you believe you have as a leader? Or if you have any weaknesses?
Uh, for my strength, I want to say is kind of like the confidence in what I know. The more you do it, the more you practice, the more you want to do it. I want to say you gotta have that kind of like I mentioned, like that urge to do it.
Mm,
My weakness though, however, is like kind of like not being able to like step back and let someone else take over. I kind of have this bad habit of wanting to get it done my way rather than like, I guess any other way because I feel like I'm right, but I'm learning how to kind of like go that and let people learn how to figure it out themselves.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty good. At least you came up with a solution too. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So for number four, it's leaders make others feel strong and confident. What do you do to help others feel this way?
So what we do, kind of like for like our training or skill level upgrade training, we have certain tasks that involves for our airmen to complete. So what I do while training them is like I ask them kind of like questions pertaining to whatever task we're doing, and if they ever feel like they're like if they're like steering like the wrong way, I kind of like try to steer them the right way. But
Hmm.
if they have confidence in the answer, I tell them, hey, just have confidence. You know what you're doing. I try to encourage them more of like to try, and I also like let them like give them confidence when they are correct. That way they kind of like get that boost of morale, knowing that they 100% got the fundamentals correct.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid because when you're first starting out in like a new MOS or like a new job like that you have, it's kind of like the first week when you're first starting to work, you're kind of nervous and stuff. So it takes a couple victories
Yeah.
to actually get you out there so where you're comfortable doing the job. So that's pretty good. I
Hmm.
mean that's how I would do it. And that's how I've seen it done from like my E7s, my E8s which were higher command. So I think it's like a tested and true formula. So for number five, do you feel it's important to delegate? If so, um, why would you feel that way?
Kind of goes back to where I was cross training, so like I would kind of like delegate the senior airman to take charge
Hmm.
because I wouldn't know what I was doing. I would be able to take responsibility if anything were to happen, like safety wise, or if leadership wise, like, oh, why isn't it done yet? Like, why didn't we split the task this way? So I'll take responsibility for that. But it depends on the certain task and the certain objective that we're trying to get a hold in time. If there's like a task or a work that we could take our time on, okay, let me delegate to my airmen, let them get some experience, being leaders, let them like speak up, let them do this training, but if it's in a time constraint and I have to get it done right away, I'll kind of take, depending, how confident people are on a certain task, they will have to take control, take initiative, and be able to get this task complete as soon as possible for the mission.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, now that you say it like that, it really does make a lot of sense because again, like if it's something really important, not to say that they can't do it, but it's better to be secure that the job
Yeah,
can get done in the right way. But if there is time for, letting them take the helm or like letting them take lead, why not give them the opportunity? It's kind of like giving them, reps or something like that.
yeah, because at one point you're not going to be at your base or at your job for so long. You kind of want others to take over. So that way, when you leave, you know that it's still in good hands. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The program or the task.
Yeah, that's Um, so what are three or four actions that you believe are essential to enable others to be successful? What would you think?
I want to say have empathy for your lower enlisted or even like I guess more supervisors. Let them know that everyone's human, people make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good listener as well because everybody learns differently. Some people are visual, some people need like practice, some people just need audio. So you need to kind of be very aware of that. And
Hmm.
I think the third one I want to say is like be like have that wonder, like be like question everything.
Hmm.
Like, why are we doing this? How are we doing this? And what are certain ways to get it done better? I mean, a lot of people we're all about, efficiency. We're all about trying to get things done at a fast rate, but also like you mentioned earlier, like correct.
Hmm.
And I think those are three things.
Okay. Oh, pretty spot on. So what advice do you have for building relationships and trust in an organization?
Building trust inside
Mhm.
organization. I think it goes to communication and also going back to having empathy. Um, I know that in the military it's like very strict, but like we
Hmm.
do have times where, they know how it is. Like when I was going through tech school with maintenance, a lot of us were private maintenance. We had kind of like that common like morale of like, oh, 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts. And like we kind of had like that bond already, like embracing the suck, as they say.
Hmm.
And so, it kind of comes with the culture, the work culture with it. So that's a big thing. And being able to bond with like your coworkers, it's kind of like it makes you want to go to work.
Hmm.
Sometimes the job is like very, dirty or very like gruesome, but like if you had like that good work like bond with your
Hmm.
coworkers, like, essentially be friends, like you tend to want to come back to work or like be happy where you're at. So you kind of need that.
It's kind of like trauma bonding in a way, because
Yeah.
your friends are out there doing 16-hour shifts, no sleep is abysmal, and then you come home and all you have time to do is really eat and take a
And
shower, and that's
sleep.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I agree with that. Like when I was, in the army, trauma bonding was the absolute number one way that we all kind of built that. It's kind of like team chemistry. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I wouldn't recommend people doing trauma bonding
Yeah.
and do that
Yeah.
constantly, but yeah, just it's different for the military. So,
Yeah.
how personally, like, military man, how do you motivate your airmen during tough assignments or deployments? I've dealt with that issue. It's pretty tough, on the Army side, but I do kind of want to get that perspective from the Air Force.
From what I learned, it's mostly about just accepting experience as experience, even if it's good or bad. You're not gonna be, you only have one life. This is what I learned from like my lieutenant. He was like, you only got one life. Whether you're out there, in the desert or in Europe or, even a hotel or even a tent, experience, you're gonna have a story to tell. You're gonna have people to bond with. You're gonna have something to say, even if it's good or a bad experience. So take it how it is, but
Hmm.
also just try and make the best out of it because regardless, it's an experience that it's an experience worthwhile.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have a story to tell. So that's how I try to tell my airmen.
Yeah, I like it that way. It's crazy. Back then, it was like more about deployments and trainings and stuff, but now we have government shutdown. I couldn't imagine what it's like to motivate your airmen now, especially when they're not getting paid and having to show up to work. That must be tough.
Yeah, I mean, luckily there's like a lot of programs that are available right now, but you know, times are tough nowadays. But I guess the main objective is like, hey, we still got job to do, we still
Mm,
got a mission to uphold. We still got standards that we got to hold. I mean, I know each branch has their core values and like that's ultimately what you have to think of. Like for us, it's like before self, excellence all we do. So like
mm,
at the end of the day, you try to kind of like have that mindset and try to I try to be kind of like the example of that. That way, when they do kind of like be a role model towards
mm.
them.
The lead
Because
by
some of these,
example.
yeah, lead by example. Because some of these airmen, like straight out basic, they just see your rank and they just fear you, or like
Mm,
they already respect you. So, you kind of want to keep that respect, but you also want them to kind of like be better than you. And in
mm.
order for them to be better than you got to show them your best. So that's why I see it.
Yeah. So, what leadership lessons have you learned from any mistakes or setbacks?
Leadership lessons I learned. Well, I learned that mistakes are okay. You can make mistakes, you gotta learn from them. A
Mm-hmm.
lot from what I learned from my supervisors that hearing their stories, like they made a lot of mistakes. There's calls that they should have made. There's things that they should have done differently. But because of those experiences and because of all those bad calls, they didn't make the same mistake. They didn't they took a different route or a different action and then had better results.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're a supervisor, you kind of want to be calm and like try the best course of action for not only for the mission, but for your people. But like you also gotta realize it's okay to make mistakes because no one's perfect. So,
Mm-hmm. So, this is the final question I have. So, how do you balance mission success with taking care of your people? I know like in the military it's way different than like let's say it was like a corporate job because in the military sometimes we had to basically do the impossible. I know when I was deployed we had to do 12-hour shifts every day for 9 months. And no there weren't any days off and stuff like that. So it's kind of like you can't really take care of your people in the sense of giving them like free time while also balancing the mission success. So if I can get a story or a perspective from you, that'd be great.
Um, let's see. So it's kind of like a long road for that one because when I had exercise for like nuclear exercise, we were doing 12, 16-hour shifts just for
Mhm.
exercise. And on the back end, what my supervisors did for us, they try and make it like as a great experience as possible while you're there. Like, oh, here's some pizza, like here's some free food, here's like money for Snack Shack, here's, like some drinks that, I brought from home, like, like Kool-Aid or something like that. But once, let's say it's like kind of like during the holiday season and like they just did like 12-hour shifts for some reason. What you know when it's kind of like the holiday season, it kind of tends to like die down. So from the back end, they're like, hey, I know you just did 12s, last week. How about this Friday? You could like take off, like what I mean, like you have the day off. It probably won't be equivalent to like all the hours you did
Mhm.
doing those 12, 16-hour shifts, but it's still something that they could do for you.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's like you said, like they try their best in regards to that. In a deployed environment, they really don't have that leeway. So it's kind
Mhm.
of like, mindset's like, hey, at least you're not here forever. So,
Mhm.
by the time you do get back from deployment, most of them have like extra leave that they didn't use,
Mhm.
or they kind of go back to base and they kind of have like free days. But it's like I think it's R&R, like rest and recover, that
Mhm.
the members are given to kind of like reinstate themselves into society from the being a deployed environment to like just relax and recover. And also they have like therapists or other sources for them when they do come back. There's like a checklist for that to make sure that they're okay.
Mhm. Oh man, that's pretty good. Yeah, like I mean, I agree. It's all about the little things, it's about like a leader just doing the small things. Because I know, like when I was deployed, I had an NCO. His name was Sergeant Williams, and he would go to this little green bean, which was our version of Starbucks over there, and he would just get everyone some drinks. It was something small, but it was like something
Yeah.
to look forward to. So, and that's the type of stuff that makes you want to run through a brick wall for some people. It's just the little stuff. But yeah, the thanks again for doing the interview. I really appreciate it.
Hmm.
And you've been, a great person to interview. Is there anything else you
Appreciate
want to
it.
like say or like leave for the
Um, nah, nothing much. I guess good luck with your school and good luck with this class.
thank you. We're gonna need it.
All right. All right.
There you go.